I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Black Man. And this is a spoiler-free Dark Knight Rises review.
Alrighty, so let's get down to business. This is trying to be a short and concise review of The Dark Knight Rises, which just came out, was it 2 days ago, 3 days ago? So, real quick before I get into the review, people that have known me from the age of about 9 or 10 up till now know me more as being a fan of this guy right here, Spider-Man. But, for those who knew me before around the age of 9 or 10, which was about like a decade or so ago, they know I've been a bigger fan of this guy right here. As shocking as it may sound for those of you that are watching this review that probably know me in more recent years, I did like Batman more than I like Spider-Man not that long ago. And I've been a fan of Batman longer than I have of Spider-Man. My first time being exposed to Batman was literally when I was 1 year old. And it was, I believe, a VHS of the 1989 Tim Burton film. And then in 1992, before my 2-year-old birthday, in the month of my birthday, September, Batman the Animated Series came out. And before that came out, Batman Returns came out the same year. And so, doing the math, and also like from video evidence of my 2-year-old birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, I had a Batman Returns cake. And so, therefore, I realized, wow, I've liked Batman all this time. Like, I thought I liked him a little bit later at a young age, like maybe when I was like 3 or 4, but like since I was 1. It's basically all my life right there that I've liked Batman, as hard as it is to believe for some people that have met me and gotten to know me in recent years. They think I'm just all about Spider-Man, but I used to like Batman a lot too. My love for the character has died down over the years, but I'm still a pretty big fan of him. And I still enjoy a lot of things related to his mythology, such as the comic books and the video games and various cartoons and animated direct-to-video movies and, of course, live-action films. As a matter of fact, I have a few mementos here with me from a couple from the 90s and then others more recent, showing how much I used to like Batman. A Batman cup from the 90s, and it was from the Warner Brothers store, I believe. Yep, it was exclusive to the Warner Brothers Studio store, which, as many people know, no longer exists. My plate from the first Batman movie. I absolutely love this plate. I think it's so freaking cool. And then the Adventures of Batman and Robin plate. And then I still have my pillow and comforter set. My comforter's upstairs, but here's the pillow to the Adventures of Batman and Robin. And on the side you have the villains, Two-Face, Riddler, and Joker. There's a set that I got for, I think it was maybe more than two, maybe 3 or 4 Christmases ago, or more, yeah, of different incarnations of Batman in action figure form. It's a Toys R Us exclusive. And then for Arkham City, I made sure that I got the collector's edition. So that's just me doing what I can to show that I'm not so biased in terms of liking Marvel and Spider-Man that I just bash anything DC. I like DC too, and I used to like Batman a lot. And I'll get a little bit more into that later in terms of what turned me off of Batman a little bit in recent years, and the fact that even though I still like him, there's still some things that I'm kind of like, what Batman about? But I still do like Batman a lot. As a matter of fact, this is the shirt I picked up from Walmart to wear to the movie. And it even has a quote from the old guy when Bruce Wayne was in the cell. That's not really a spoiler because you see him in this on the movie, but it says, "Fear is why you fail." It's kind of hard to see, but, you know. And really cool picture of Batman. It kind of looks like Jim Lee's artwork. I'm not sure. I mean, it would make sense if they chose like any artist to do actual comic artwork related to the movie. They would get an actual comic book artist and get Jim Lee because he's the most popular artist for Batman at the moment. The Dark Knight Rises was a great film. As a standalone film, I wouldn't say it's great. Or you know what? No, I guess I'd still say it's great. It's just that when it comes to things that I find negative about the film, it makes it more so okay as a standalone film. But in the context of all three films being tied together, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, it's mind-blowing. Flows together really well, and one of the things, I don't know if this will be spoiling stuff. I'll just say this. When I saw Batman Begins in 2005, I believe it was like 14 when it came out, 14 or 15. As a hardcore Batman fan, or former hardcore Batman fan, I knew that the last film in the series, I didn't know they were going to do just a trilogy at the time, but I knew that the last film in the series would revisit events that happened in the first film. I automatically knew it. Because that's how these movies kind of work, and as a comic fan, you kind of expected that stuff. Plus, if you know anything about Ra's al Ghul, and I just kind of maybe spoil some stuff, but if you know anything about Batman, then like a lot about Batman, then you knew that certain things in Batman Begins would come back to light in the next couple films. And you specifically knew things would come back to haunt Bruce Wayne and challenge him as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. I really liked the character development of specifically Bruce Wayne, main character, Bruce Wayne / Batman, through all three films, and the way he was developed from the beginning to the middle and to the end of The Dark Knight Rises. It flowed together really well. So did the character development of a couple of other characters such as Alfred and Lucius Fox and Selina Kyle, and Bane was pretty much the same throughout the film, and Miranda Tate. Some people had issues with some of the characters saying they didn't get enough screen time, there wasn't enough about them, but it's like nowadays in movies with the way some plots are, because the way movies are structured has kind of changed since back in the day. Like, everyone is just so adamant about character development, and it's like, it's good to have character development, but sometimes you can spend too much time on the character. Like, you need to find a balance of focusing on the characters and the story / the plot and whatnot. Like, there needs to be a cohesiveness between the characters, the dialogue, the story, the action, everything. It needs to flow well, and I think The Dark Knight Rises flowed pretty well, and overall the acting was pretty good. There were some parts where the acting was kind of cheesy in my opinion. Some special effects were good and others were kind of wonky. One of the fight scenes, first time I saw it, I was like, wow. Second time when I really took a look at it, I was kind of like, this kind of reminds me of this one kind of hokey fight I saw. A Star Trek clip, and one of my friends pointed it out to me, and I was like, you know what, yeah, I kind of agree with this. The way some of the punches felt like they were moving a little too slow, in my opinion. And I know they're not superhuman, but it's like, realistically, some of the punches and kicks felt a little too slow. Some of the character deaths, and that's not spoiling anything, characters are going to die in the film. But some of the deaths I felt were kind of underwhelming and cliche. And my other review, I'm going to do a spoiler-heavy, really in-depth review. Some of the deaths I did not agree with. Some of them, some of the ways they were done, I felt was kind of like really. And there were some really cheesy moments in the film, I'll admit, like the fact that the title was called The Dark Knight Rises. I know a lot of fans were mad at first, like, oh, really? we're just going to slap one extra word at the end of the last film's title and say that's the name of the new movie. Great. I know some people would have preferred The Dark Knight Returns, which you can kind of see some elements of The Dark Knight Returns in this movie, and I would have preferred that title as well, but then maybe people would have been confused and more mad because they would have been like, this is nothing like The Dark Knight Returns. I wanted to be more like the book. And that's another issue I had with the movie. Like, there were some things that were changed from what we see in the books that I would have preferred to be more so translated into the film. Like, I realize this is a translation, not... this is like... not a translation. This is an adaptation, not a translation. And so things are going to be different, but at the same time, I don't like seeing too much stuff change. Sometimes too much change can be a bad thing if you're familiar with the comic books and other versions of the Batman. And certain characters, I didn't like the way they were done, honestly. That's just me. I'm not going to say which specific characters because it would go a little bit into spoiler territory, but pretty much characters, for fellow Batman fans, characters that you are used to in the comic books being done a certain way, and seeing them being basically the same but changed slightly in different interpretations and incarnations, from the comic books to cartoons to animated films to video games and to alternate universes, I could say, in other comic books. Like, things may be different, but they're still basically the same. Like, the core stuff is there, as well as other stuff that makes up the character, but it just gets annoying when too much is changed. And for me, one of the female characters, not Catwoman, but another female character, who I'm not going to say because it was spoiler, I didn't like the way she was done, really. I mean, the core essence of her and her past was there. I'll just get into that in another video. And then Bane. Now, I feel like me and maybe Angry Video Game Nerd are the only ones that are probably gonna say this, but I like Bane a little bit more than the Joker in The Dark Knight. Just a little bit more. And I'm not just saying it because I personally feel, and I know I'm gonna get flack for this, I personally feel The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises were a little overhyped. And in my other video, I'll go into more explanation on that. Joker is one of the most beloved Batman characters of all time. The most favorite Batman villain of all time. And he was done great in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger did a good job. But at the same time, it's like, when you see so many superhero movies, you get tired of reboots and seeing the exact same characters over and over. That's why I'm glad with Nolan's Batman films, we didn't see characters that we already saw before right away. First movie was Ra's al Ghul. Then in the second movie, we get character we've seen before. Third film, character we have seen before, but was done terribly in Batman and Robin. So I was glad that we got to see newer characters for general audiences to enjoy. General audiences probably didn't give a crap about or knew about. Because let's face it, most oftentimes general audiences can be kind of dumb compared to people who are fans of the material that's being adapted into a film. And we have more respect and reverence for what we're a fan of and seeing on the big screen. And I know this video is already starting to get long. I'll try to cut it up better. But, long story short, without getting too spoilerish and getting too much into detail, like I said, I'll have another video for that. Overall, Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises was a great film. I highly recommend going to see it. It's a little overhyped in my opinion, just like The Dark Knight was. But still, great ride, great film, highly enjoyable. Like I said, I have a few issues with it in terms of certain characters and certain plot points, and some... Yes, there were a few plot holes, but, nothing so colossal it'll distract you completely from enjoying the film. Like, really, I guess my issues with it would be more so in the line of being nitpicks, specifically for someone who likes Batman. And I know there are some people who are Batman fans who say there is no way any Batman fan could have an issue with this. I've seen multiple people say that, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but there is a way Batman fans can have an issue with this movie. And I've already seen plenty of other Batman fans, like really hardcore Batman fans, that have discussed their dislike for certain things in the movie. I've even actually seen some major Batman fans that I've talked to on the internet for a couple times that said they hated the film. Now, I wouldn't say I hated the film. I'm sorry, I really liked it. But there were certain things I really disliked and maybe borderline hated in the film. But overall, I didn't hate the film. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. For people that know me as being a Spider-Man fan, they're probably going to be like, what? But I mean, I give credit where credit is due. I like the movies. They're great, in my opinion. Not as great as people make them out to be, but they're still great, and I enjoyed them. And I'm looking forward to see what's next in Batman movies. Personally, I don't want to see another reboot anytime soon. I'd like to see them do a film adaptation of Batman Beyond. Don't know who should play Terry McGinnis, but I already know who I want for Bruce Wayne. I would want Michael Keaton, because he's the obvious choice to play an older Batman in a Batman Beyond movie. And honestly, I'd love to see Tim Burton come back. Honestly, I think he would be perfect for a Batman Beyond movie. I would love to see a Batman Beyond movie that kind of blends Tim Burton style with Nolan's realistic vision. I think that would be awesome. And so that's all I pretty much have to say. Like I said, I'll have a more in-depth, more so spoilerish review coming later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later tonight, I don't know. I got things I want to do tonight, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Go see the movie. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know what you think in the comments below.